Vixen, origin story. Origin. Mary McCabe was born in Africa, although the actual country is often changed depending on the story. She's the daughter of a Reverend Jiwi, who later possessed the magical Tantu totem. This is a magical artifact supposedly created by Anasazi the spider, which bestowed the wearer the same powers as Anasazi. Soon, Mary found herself an orphan after her mother was killed by poachers and her father was killed by Makasi, his half-brother. She then moves to New York City, where she began her career as a model. She later returns to Africa to reclaim that totem. Creation. Vixen was originally slated to become the first African-American female superhero to lead her own series, yet the series was canceled before the publication, though these issues were later printed as in a collection. This was during an event known as the DC implosion. Although her series had been canceled, the character was not, and eventually made its first appearance in the DC universe in Action Comics 521 in 1981, created by Gary Conway and Kurt Swan. Character evolution. Despite being nearly the first African American character to be featured in her own comic book series, she was subsequently characterized somehow stereotypically as a stock African American character for a period after her eventual introduction into the DC universe. Undoubtedly, one of the most important moments for the character was her introduction into the Justice League of America. At the time, in the early 1980s, the comic book industry was dominated by youth-oriented series. The main source of this was at Marvel, where the X-Men were leading sales across the entire industry. But DC, the Teen Titans, were equally one of the best sellers. With this formula in mind, it was decided to launch the Justice League of America with younger, less mainstream cast. While most of these new characters were eventually new creations, Vixen was one of the more experienced of the new members, and one of the publication's history, a bit limited, prior to her joining. Despite the attempt to give new life to this version of the League, dubbed by many as Justice League Detroit, as it was based in Detroit, was not popular, as fans did not take to the disappearance of the traditional League members very well. Soon after the series was canceled, but Vixen did not stay in the background for long. John Ostrander chose her as a member of the new Suicide Squad. This version of the character was a bit grittier, as she was wrestled with the fact, despite being a hero, that she had killed for revenge against some drug dealer that had killed some of her modeling colleagues. Despite this, she eventually found peace with her past and became a valued member of the team, and during this time developed one of the most enduring relationship, Ben Turner. After the dissolution of this version of the Suicide Squad, she would most likely in the background, appearing during company-wide crossovers until she rejoined the Infinite Crisis version of the team in 2006. Major story arcs. During her first appearance in the League, the team battled many threats, among the most daunting the Overmaster, Cadre, and Despero. During her time with the Suicide Squad, she partook in a majority of the missions, being a major player in such storylines as the hunt for Rick Flag and Senator Cray, and the Janus Directive. At one point, Vixen worked with Wally West to take down Gorilla Grodd, who was using a machine to give animals a Keystone City advanced intelligence and turning them on the humans. During the battle, Grodd would use this machine on Vixen, forcing to completely become useless animals, such as a slug. Luckily, Wally broke free from the cage and defeated Grodd. After her departure from the Suicide Squad, she would occasionally work with Animal Man. She would later to return to the Justice League during these events of Infinite Crisis. During these events, 1 year later, the Justice League is reformed once again behind the direction of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. She was not initially considered as a member, but everyone who partook in the story arc, the Toronto Path, was offered membership, as the spontaneous nature by which the team came together was considered a sign. Her role in the story arc was small but key, and Mozo had been using her totem to channel his energies, and as she regressed to more animalistic nature, she sought only to its return, in the end state of which was her defeating Mozo almost single-handedly. During her time with the team, although she did take part in numerous story arcs, the most relevant one was between her and Animal Man. After she had started to steal the powers of other superheroes, this was revealed to be the work of Anasazi. During the Sinestro Corps, Vixen was with the Justice League when they tried to capture Professor Zoom to question him about Sinestro. She was also with the group on the Watchtower in the Earth's orbit when Cyborg Superman attacked. Later, she was a part of the team of superheroes who tried to bum rush Superboy Prime before sunrise and failed. She soon after featured in her own miniseries, Vixen Return of the Lion. In the series, she returns to Africa to hunt for her mother's murderers, but discovers a new focus when using her powers. It is also revealed that Intergang is interested in her. She later plays a small part in the Final Crisis. Following Final Crisis, the team is forced to go on without many of its key members, and a smaller, less powerful team is maintained with Mary as its leader during the Blackest Night. The League takes part in the action, but she is injured and takes leave of absence. With the reboot of the DC Universe and the New 52, Vixen is a founding member of the new Justice League International. Vixen is shown as one of the many heroes chosen to join the Justice League in the latest issues of the comic. Powers and abilities. Originally, Mary required the Tantum Totem for her powers. This allowed her to channel the abilities of various animals, giving her the curious abilities. The totem will only work when being used in the benefit of mankind. She has been shown to channel these powers for various purposes and from various animals, though most cause applications are for speed, fight, flight, enhanced senses, and strength. It is later revealed that she does not need the totem itself, rather that it is focused her own initiative powers, which she later learns to control. She has been shown to channel the powers of the animal abilities into pure power and create force fields. Though this ability may not be non-canonical, she has also occasionally used the healing abilities of certain animals, and she has even been able to transform into animals. For a period, she was able to mimic the powers of superhumans. Through this was due to an Anasazi influence, and she can no longer do this. She possesses razor-sharp claws, which she is skilled in using in combat. She also possesses some abilities in animal control.